good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Bosonko, joined by my colleague here, Ibrahim Abalde, and our newspaper review guest, Ade Rami. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen.
Pleasure, as always.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Mr. Ade. It's good to share this platform again with you.
I was getting worried. You know, the week was getting on, and I hadn't been invited, and I thought, what's happened? Who have I upset?
Oh no!
but here I am. Here I am.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's also, I mean, good to be on the same platform with you.
Oh.
Because I mean, we got to learn new things. I mean, Mr. Ade is one person that you know. I mean, he's here most of the time. You know, sometimes he shares certain things with us. I mean, you'll be like, wow, Mr. Ade, does this happen? I mean, how did it happen?
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Remember the phrase.
Yeah.
So
you know how British people can be so open-minded and are just able to share things.
Yeah. But there are sometimes you can be open-minded in a way society might paint you otherwise.
That's their problem. I mean, it's society.
Allow
them to go.
Never worry about that.
Do not
never
please.
worry
And
about what
that
other
even takes
people
us.
think.
That even takes us to our proverb, which
correct.
is talking about even if you dance in water, your enemies will still accuse you of causing dust.
It is true. When somebody is your real enemy, they are your enemy. No matter what good you do, they will try and find the bad in it. So don't try and please your enemies. Please yourself always, and your conscience.
Be happy.
And yes, don't worry, be happy.
Well,
as
the conscience is also very important, like you mentioned.
Sure.
I mean, when you do certain things and your conscience is clear, well, I think you don't have to worry, because sometimes conscience can judge you. I mean, it can push you, I mean, to certain levels, to do certain things. I mean, to withdraw doing certain things.
It's interesting you say that, because I know we don't have an international story to discuss, but just this morning there was breaking news from Kenya that a computer expert has come forward. He's volunteered, he's handed himself in, and he said that he is one of 10 people who were hired to hack into the Electoral Commission headquarters and manipulate the election results in the recently concluded Kenya presidential election. His conscience would not allow him to rest. And so he's handed himself in, and he's named the other 9 people who were part of this computer team. So there's been a challenge to the result, and I suspect his testimony will be quite important. So you're right, but we're going off slightly, but you know, yes.
But I mean, Mr. Ade, as much as some people, I mean, they do certain things due to the conscience they have. Is there a person that you think doesn't have these kind of feelings?
There are many.
Some of them don't.
There are
some
many.
of them don't. Some can do anything and they get away with it.
There are many people who I've encountered in life, and they've done things, and I've said to myself, and I've even said to them, that you've done this because you have no conscience. You don't have something that will trouble you. You don't go to bed having sleepless nights because you've wronged somebody in a really bad way. How can you sleep? If you, but there are people who they sleep as soundly as a baby who has no
and
worries.
they snore.
And they snore on top of that. So there are people like that, and sadly there are far too many of them in the world. But if we go back to our proverb, I think we should always say, you do things, we're talking about the conscience thing, you do something and you know you've done well and your conscience is clear, then that should be enough for you. Your enemies can say and do whatever they want, let them. You can't stop people saying and thinking stuff. Sometimes, you know, we try and intervene and we try and stop people and say, oh, don't say this about me, don't say that about me. It's not worth it, otherwise you'll spend your whole life doing that. Either apologizing,
throwing stones on a tree without fruit.
Well, indeed, which is a good one,
And just generally, you know, it shows how much you do not really need validation from everyone. Sometimes you can even look at yourself to say, you know when you're doing well, you set your goals, you know if you're doing well or not. You can always, you know, kind of measure standards and all of that, and to be able to conclude. And again, if you take a look at this in the Gambian context, you know, even if you dance in water, your enemies will still accuse you of causing dust. You take a look at how politics is ongoing currently in this country. In as much as there are a lot of opposition parties, sometimes you can see how the government of President Adam Barrow are up to certain projects, and then you see how much the opposition is trying by all means. I'm talking about oppositions who are Gambians. I'm just bringing that in to further show that these are Gambians most of the time, you know, trying to pinpoint or trying to investigate to bring about a fault in something that is of national development.
Yeah.
So this is exactly of that. In as much as we have different political ideologies, the moment is national development, and we have to forge ahead. We all have to follow suit. For example, the Radisson Blu Hotel, we saw how you know, people had to circulate all of these.
They put out fake press releases.
Something
and
that was. If it comes and happens, tourism will change, employment will be provided. So I think this is exactly our political situation as we speak.
It's a valid point, because, you know, nobody is saying we should not have opposition. It's a democracy after all. We can't all be singing from the same hymn sheet or thinking the same things. But you're right. There are times when I've taken to task people on social media, and, you know, because you're defending something that I have no political affiliation in the Gambia at all. In fact, in any country. I used to be a member of the British Labour Party, but I left, I didn't renew my membership 10 years ago. So that was my only political affiliation. But when you defend something, because it's something that might be something proposed by the president, or oh, you're NPP and so on, it's got nothing to do with that. You know, and you're right. There are things that are in the national interest. If somebody is truly Gambian and truly patriotic, suggest how it can be improved.
Exactly.
Don't wish for it to fail. When it fails, we all suffer. So, you know.
And this is an individual who's government in waiting, in a way, wishing us all bad.
Well, that's what some people do, because if the government in office, the incumbency, if they fail, then that gives you something to attack so that you can come and do better. So you do get that. But opposition is fine.
It's fine. For the oppositions, exactly.
Opposition is fine.
I mean, it's more of a political strategy to at least paralyze your enemy.
But my point, Mr. Adi, I don't know. My point.
No, your point is it goes right to this problem.
Yes, my point is that it's not fine. Even if I was opposition, I would always look for things. But I'm talking about things that, you know, really, there's no need to downgrade these things. It is okay.
Yeah, and that's what you're saying. Because if you look at the proverb and what we're saying about the proverb, no matter how good you do, your enemies will find fault with it.
Always.
So,
well, there'll always be.
So have you guys ever had that one person who's been on you, you know?
One?
No.
If only it was one.
It's not one, but obviously somebody you can clearly identify to say, truly, 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 this person cannot accept anything positive about me.
You know, I was once involved in organizing for Sierra Leone's 50th anniversary of independence, and I was asked to write the official book, which I ended up doing. But also I was authorized to organize all the things around me. And there was one guy and his set who were dead against me. They thought...
Camp. Call it a camp.
Well, it was a kind of camp. You know, everything that they proposed, you know, because I thought some of them were ridiculous. For example, they wanted me to go and approach Mercedes-Benz and ask them to donate a Mercedes-Benz car, brand new one, for a raffle. They also wanted me to approach a diamond company and ask them to donate a couple of diamonds that will be given away at a dance. And I just thought these were so tacky and so ridiculous. Anyway, they kind of ganged up and they were going on and on and on about it. So every time we had a meeting, you know, they would go. So one day I came in and the meeting was at the Sierra Leone High Commission in London, and the place was packed. You know, so unusually I got there late, and there must have been about 70 or 80 people in the room. A room which would only comfortably sit maybe 40 people. It was double capacity. And so I had to stand at the back and observe. And this guy spent about 10 minutes blasting me. And people were trying to catch his attention like,
he's
oh my God, oh my God.
You know, and he ended by saying, and if he was here, I would tell him to his face.
He's standing right behind you.
At which point I just said, I'm here, tell me to my face. You know?
That must have been embarrassing.
The thing, it was really shocking because, and the funny thing is, we're really good friends now. So I went to the front and I said, okay, I was making notes about everything you said. And here are my answers.
Defante.com.
So, because, you know, it's a habit I have. I always walk around with a notebook. And so I went and I just kind of dismantled them all one by one. You know, I said, this is why. I didn't do it because I have an ego, that's why I opposed the suggestion. This is why I opposed it.
Exactly.
You know, imagine a company was willing to give us £75,000 that they were going to book somewhere like the Albert Hall, or one of the really big prestigious halls in London for us to host these things. And you know what these guys wanted? They said, no, give us the money and we'll organize a dance. I'm like, what? How tacky is that? We're talking about the 50th anniversary of our independence. It should be big, it should be grand. It should be. And I said, I'm not going to go back and tell them, oh, we want the money so we can put on a dance. We put on dances every week.
Exactly.
This is something different and special, you know. It's like, so, you know, I just, like I said, and, you know, so, but that guy had been on my case for years. But I can tell you honestly, that was the day when it all kind of melted away. And now we're really good friends.
And you know what? This, just what Mr. Ade explained now means that no matter what you do, coming back to your point, make sure you always do it right. Yeah. Make sure you always do it right. Or everybody has a fault, but just make sure whatever they say about you, on the other hand, they will say, oh, but Ade is this, Ade is that. You know, the positives will always outweigh the negative aspect that they can use against you. So that is just the thing. But that must have been embarrassing. Oh my God, I don't want to be in such a situation.
Can you imagine being in that person's shoes? Like, you know, it was really funny. It was. I can recall it as if it was yesterday. You know, it was.
But anyway, you handled it maturely. Sometimes you know what. You know your enemies. Sometimes you know clearly when this person doesn't like me. But at the end of the day, you just take it like you can't confront everybody. You can't fight with everybody. It's exhausting. You know, so, you know.
You can't. And you know, part of how I live my life, I met a manager, a guy called Mr. Grant. And he told me something. He said, because of something that happened to him, he got into an argument with his manager. And she reported him. And he ended up being demoted at work. And he said the reason he was demoted was because he did not keep written evidence of the discussion they'd had before.
Look at that.
And so he said to me, he said, from that day onwards, he said, everything I do,
I have to
he said, I will keep the date, the time, everything. And it's something I do now. You go, I have a journal. And something happens, I write it down. Somebody said, you didn't. I said, oh, yes, you did. Yesterday at 2 o'clock.
Exactly. You do that a lot.
You know, you guys know.
Keep track,
You know, and because that way, trust me.
Everything. And also, technology has made it so easy. You have your mobile phone.
Easy.
You have your notes. You can just simply take things, you know. Even if, you know, so things are changing. So
I once got into an accident in London, and some guy phoned me because we exchanged numbers, threatening to kill me. So I just pressed record. And I recorded it. He ended up serving 3 years in prison.
Exactly. So you have to always, but generally the proverb today, make sure today, you know, and your whole life, you know, do not seek for validation. You can't, not validation, but go to the people that matter to you and ask them, how am I doing? What do I need to improve on? But don't depend on the wrong people for them to give you a thumbs up. Please do not try that. You know, and do not change yourself because you want your enemies to accept you. That's the worst thing that you can do. Because even if you dance in water, they will still say you're causing dust. Always remember that. Quite. So we'll go for a short break. And when we come back, the conversation continues. Do stay tuned.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router. A router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. And that's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So newspapers came late, unfortunately. But we'll be, you know, continuing the conversation, and you know, a lot of things happening in the country and beyond. You know, like yesterday was the day to remember slave trade as well as its abolition. You know, and we saw how Mauritania is part of, you know, the last countries to kind of abolish it. But apart from that,
I mean, they've formally abolished it, but as the UN is saying that it's not being enforced.
Then
so they're not convinced that it's been abolished.
And they had to like come up with it twice, you know, to just ensure it happens. But hey, let's put it this way: slave trade happened when people were put in boats and taken to Europe.
The transatlantic slave
that
trade.
was the current dynamic. But currently, things are modernized. Let's even call it modernized slavery.
Sure.
We see how women are trafficked to countries like Lebanon, Qatar, Kuwait, and all of these countries at the end of, and when they get there, then they take their passport.
First thing they do is take your passport.
And the moment you do that to a person, it's slavery, because the person doesn't have access.
Not only
anymore.
that, a lot of these women go to countries where they can't speak the language.
Exactly.
So well, slavery, I think it goes beyond only transporting, you know, people from Africa to Europe or America.
Which is why we mentioned Mauritania.
In our homes, I mean, a form of slavery. I mean, the way you treat your spouse, I mean, the way you treat your children, your daughter, I mean, and other family members. It's all part of slavery. At some point, if you like seize their rights from them, and they cannot do certain things, they don't have access to certain things, and you're overusing them to do certain things. That's slavery.
And you know what? Often people do not even do this to their legitimate children. They do this sometimes. They give you someone to raise.
To raise and
these
look
are
after.
The people that they enslave. Like it's
well, I think it's
day.
important, as far as we've mentioned slavery and we've talked about children. Let's highlight, I mean, some of the kids that we see in our streets when you go to places like Farafenye, places like Jara Soma. I saw a video that was circulating on social media the other time. According to one of, like a small boy, he's like 12 years old, a Talibe. When I say a Talibe, it simply means, you know, a student of a Quranic school or something. You know, this guy was beaten by his, teacher, his Quranic teacher, to an extent where he, like, if you see his body, the video was circulating on social media, and it was very serious. And I was surprised. I mean, authorities didn't take any action.
Yeah, but if slavery even happened at workplaces sometimes. Before we came on air, we're talking about low wages that people are paid. Sometimes people are paid small amounts of money, and they're working even more than what they're getting paid. Just that is an example.
Of course, I mean, but the ones who are the worst are the ones who work and don't get paid.
Exactly.
That is the real slavery.
Yeah.
Well,
and people have people in, as you said, you know, they send you to this family member or somebody that they respect and say, look after this person for us. You do all the work in the house. You don't get paid. All you get is a room to sleep. What's that? And that's no different from those who were transported to the Americas and to the Caribbean. They had somewhere to sleep. Every morning they wake up at 5 o'clock, have to go and till the sugar cane or rice plantations and so on. And is that payment? The fact that you have somewhere to sleep and you're given, the only reason they gave you 3 meals a day was to keep you strong to work next day. You know, so it's no different.
That is why for me, Mr. Ade, what I tell people is that even if you're going to eat sand with your child, it's your child, you're dying together. Because the moment you give them out, the story changes completely. The person that, you know, I'm not saying it happens in every household, but the thing is, mothers will always look at their kids and distinguish. This is the person, that's my child, legally this is not, you know. So the treatment can never be the same. It can never be.
I'm smiling because, you know, as you said, it's not the same across the road. But when I was growing up, we always had children come to stay with us 4, 5, 6 years who were not obviously my parents' children. But my parents always insisted that they would be treated the same, much to the resentment of us. Like, but they're not even your children. Why are you treating them the same as us? You know, later on you grow up. I mean, by the time of my sort of early teenage years, I got to realize why my parents were doing it. They wanted to teach us certain values about how you treat people and so on. So in the end, they were like our brothers and sisters. And up to now, we keep in touch.
And when you look at it, I mean, I think your parents were also trying to show you, these people, they did not have the opportunity to live with their parents. And you know how important a parent love is to a child.
That's it.
So you have the opportunity, no matter what happened, you are with your parents.
Just that is something so big, growing up with your own parents.
I think,
you know,
I think that's
whatever they bought for us, they bought for them, whatever, you name it, they were treated equally. And it really left a mark on us, on all of us.
That's very good.
Because it was like, they didn't even have to tell us. I mean, my father would just say.
For me, when I was going to school, I have an issue with my food. My mom will always give out my food to either a passerby or anybody that visits the house. When I come from school, I'll be talking the whole compound. I mean, that did well. I mean, that's the only issue that I had.
So you grew up with your mom and dad?
With my parents.
Like till you finished school?
Exactly.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but I mean, my food, I mean, no food for me.
No food
No food for me. When I close, I come home, I have to wait for dinner.
Oh,
Anyway, we also see, you know, yesterday on QTV News how the Department of Physical Planning is embarking on a demolition exercise, and we really see how frustrating, you know, these people are. I saw at the closing story, I saw someone, you know, with his kids surrounding him.
Right.
They don't have even food to eat.
And
so
some
looking
of them
at that, do you think this exercise is organized enough to ensure that, fine, these people are settling on waterways, you know, that's the truth, but how about a plan to maybe have them camped somewhere? All of those things.
And from the notice given to them, which we saw and which we showed on screen, they were only given 48 hours to vacate. Whatever the rights or wrongs, and again, Mr. Mboja and I discussed this on drive time, and we kind of took slightly divergent views. Because what they were saying, and these people, and some of the ones we didn't show, it was because they were so emotional, some of them were close to tears. Yeah. And you can understand. They were saying that we were given this land legitimately. We didn't bribe for it, we didn't coerce anybody, and we were given it, and we were given permission to build on it. Why now, having spent, if you look at some of the houses, they must have cost 1, maybe 2, 3 million. So it's not a small amount of money that we're talking about to build. And now they're being demolished with just 48 hours notice. It seems rather unfair if that is, you know, how it is. And you would have imagined either they'd given them longer time, or, as you say, resettle them somewhere else and then, you know, investigate it, because there doesn't seem to have been any process by which they could appeal or challenge the notice for demolition. They've just been given 48 hours. You build on a waterway. I mean, if people paused the screen, if they were able to, and just read the notice, and maybe we will share the notice in full, people will see that they've given 48 hours to vacate and then told that these houses are going to be demolished.
Our papers are here. Don't worry, Mr. Producer, you can bring them.
So
don't worry, you can bring the papers.
Yeah, so we have the papers now.
It's good sometimes for our backway people to appear on the program.
People have always been asking, who's this Mr. Francis that you guys
Exactly.
But going back to the demolition, we also saw how ones whose houses have already been demolished,
and bang, straight on there,
have to stay with other people whose house structures are still there. That's and right. Eventually those structures are going to be demolished as well. So where are all these people
No, I mean, most of them are trying to move away, because the ones whose houses are currently standing have already been formally served notice that theirs are also going to be demolished. And again, as our papers have arrived, the Point newspaper has it, just coincidentally, victims of demolished houses at Jabang call for compensation. It's what you would expect, of course. Well, that you would expect to be compensated.
And I am with the idea that they've already put together the money to compensate them, just the same way they've concluded that they have to demolish the houses, meaning the funds are available now.
Yeah, I mean, compensation is one of the things that you would have imagined is there already. This seems very reactive because a lot of it seems to have been because of what happened with the flooding.
Heavy downpour.
So the downpour we had, which caused unbelievable flooding across, seems to have pushed them into this. So whether there's been a compensation package already, I would doubt, but you would hope that there is. You would hope that there is.
Interesting.
Yeah, so moving on.
Well, I'm seeing a very funny headline here. I mean, I wonder how are we going to manage that? Balde and rice? No. Gambian urge to alternate rice consumption with other diets.
Listen,
well, I mean, when we have, come on, how can we do that?
When we have people,
but it's important.
We have people.
It's important, but I mean, we cannot do it.
We need to.
Yeah,
no.
we have people in the office who tell me, I won't name them, who said to me, if I haven't eaten rice, I haven't eaten.
Mamadou Gajaga, he went to went to Birmingham.
You went and named him.
Looking for rice.
You went and named him.
Can you imagine?
People like me, I eat.
You went and named him.
I eat. I eat mahal in the morning. I mean,
people are so used to eating rice.
I eat rice in the night.
In the last week, I've eaten rice once.
That's good.
Just once. in the
That's
last
why
Just
you're
once?
looking fly.
in the last
How do you manage to do that?
Gis nga Mr. Ade nu mel parce que du dee lekk maalo
Well,
every
Mr. Adebu Ebona mel no mel. Me, I'll mel no more mel. But rice, we cannot leave rice. Rice.
I could live,
Well,
if I lived for another 100 years and I didn't eat rice, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't.
You're used to it.
It wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, at this time.
I've always been like that. I've never been that.
Imagine
fussed
eating
about
couscous
rice.
every day.
Right.
Couscous, dugu, like dugu break
Well,
every
malo
day.
bubad
Yo,
bubad,
cherry roux, cherry roux.
diabetes.
There are two things I've never particularly cared about. Oh, I must eat this. That's rice and bread. If I do,
That's
I do.
why
If I
you're
don't,
like
I don't.
this.
So
I cannot stay for 2 days without eating rice.
Wow.
I'll have to eat rice sometimes in the morning.
It's just habit.
I'll have to eat rice in the afternoon for lunch.
Yes.
Or if I go home, I'll
You have to eat
I'll
rice.
ask my wife.
Actually, I think
dinner.
personally I'm improving because this is like doctor's advice that I have to limit my intake of bread as well as rice.
Right.
I'm not like 100% on it, but I'm trying to see ways to like reduce it because I need to at the end of the day.
Right.
So that's not an excuse. You
Yeah,
have
very-
to start
very
training
important.
yourself because diabetes is
Well,
around.
I will not
and
even
other
try
conditions.
it. I cannot train it.
You need to.
I cannot train it. How can you
Anyway.
stop rice? I mean,
You can, like anything else.
Rice.
Like, for example, you see I'm drinking coffee now. Most people who know me will know that I consume about 6, 7, or 8 cups of coffee
That's
a day.
bad as well.
And yet for the last week, I've had coffee twice for the whole week.
So
I just
which means
decided.
you can try.
I wanted to test myself.
Yeah. And
to
it
see
worked,
whether-
right? Did you
Well,
have
okay.
headache?
No, no, no.
You did not?
No, no, no.
Well, I'm gonna
to the
try
extent
and
where
see.
I even had I have a fresh jar of coffee at
Exactly.
home that
Yeah.
I haven't even opened. It's there
Very
unopened.
good.
well, I'm gonna try and see.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So you do not have
maybe-
voices. You do not have voices telling you have to take
Man,
coffee.
you need to take coffee.
No, I mean, I had lemon tea, which I don't normally have, but I
Okay.
just thought, have an alternative. And so I had lemon tea. And part of my lemon tea, and this is a joke actually, I bought some oranges from the guy on the corner who people know. And those oranges were as sour as the sourest lime I have ever tasted.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I bought 10 from him.
Okay.
And they're all equally sour. So I've been squeezing some of them into my
And taking it.
tea.
When he doesn't take attire, he has voices telling him that he needs to chime. Take attire.
Why didn't you brew today? Go and brew.
Anyway,
But yes,
So,
well, the papers
moving
are
on.
here. So
Yeah.
yes, do you want to shoot?
for
with yours?
here we have that Gambians. Mr. Adi, that's your word. Be mourn. Gambians be mourn their daily struggles to board vehicles. I see the GTSC, but are you guys seeing them? I see them moving around.
The buses. I've seen them.
I've
In fact,
seen
I
them.
wanted to take pictures of some of
I've
them.
seen them moving around.
Yeah, with the QCell.
Yes, so
livery on
it's
it.
something that can really work.
It can. I mean, we need a lot more of them.
Yeah.
But it's a start.
Yeah.
It's a start. So yeah, they're bemoaning the trouble. I mean, it's something
It's hard.
you know what? And I think that's one of the reasons why the police at their checkpoints, they allow a lot of these commercial vehicles to go through, because they know that people struggle to get on. Because I would go so far as to say 70, 80, maybe 90% of those commercial vehicles would not pass a motor ordnance test as being fit for the road. They stop in front of you, their brake lights don't work. You see them turn left or right, and you know their indicator's not working. All of that should disqualify a car from being on the road. And then, of course, at night you see some of them coming towards you with no lights, some of them with one light. And I think because the police and the authorities, they know that, look, it's a struggle for people to get, they allow these vehicles.
Yeah,
There's no way those vehicles should be on the road.
I think there should be school buses as well.
I grew up
buses meant
with,
for
in
school
Freetown with school.
specifically,
Yeah.
because the children get to suffer a lot as well.
And I really feel that, because, as I said, in Freetown, growing up in the 60s, we had school buses that took you from particular stops directly to the school. They actually parked inside the school compound.
But we used to have school buses here, and you know, they were very reliable.
Okay.
I mean,
so what happened?
In 2004, I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah, Fanadala Transu,
You
Homatala.
pay 25 bututs, and it takes you from Brikama to Banjul.
Okay.
You know, so it was a very good transport system for students.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had I don't know if anybody remembers or has seen the double-decker buses they have in London, or mainly in London. That's what we had in Freetown, double-decker buses that took you to school. So, yeah. It means you don't have to squeeze onto these poda types.
So moving on, the editorial here is saying, is the Barrow government a government that listens?
Interesting one. We used to have weekly sessions hosted by the Minister of Information, where he would feed back and
the updates,
and sometimes take questions. That seems to have stopped, but that was a good opportunity for journalists to fire questions and ask. But it's something that you hear it around the world. Is our government listening to us? And so I don't know what they're basing it on in terms of asking the question. But if governments want to engage, they should set up a proper formal mechanism by which people can engage with them.
Well, I think the government, they listen, but I mean, they will not be able to react to any...
To everything.
To everything.
No.
You know, like today I saw something on Facebook. I think there was a boy apprehended. He stole something, and he was in chains. And they
chains
were,
or handcuffs?
Cuffs.
Sort of. They were like Barrow supporter, you know, accused of stealing. You understand? So, you know, those are things that the government cannot reply to.
But I think journalists should also be more responsible with their
should
headlines.
know how to write.
We have to.
I suspect if it was on Facebook, it's probably, there are lots of people who call themselves journalists
This needs to stop
who practice no ethics of the profession.
I don't know what's happening.
Because the boy was wearing an NPP t-shirt.
For me, Mr.
I mean,
Ade, I think ethics is like the first point to start when it comes to journalism. If that is not there, then
what's the point?
What's the point?
Because that same boy probably danced behind other political parties on a different day, and just happened that on that day that's the T-shirt he was wearing.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean that if he was, you know, wearing a UDP or whatever T-shirt, the next day is a UDP supporter.
Well, you know, the easiest job that you can do in this country, it's journalism.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. The easiest you can do. It's journalism.
Well,
although you need to get all the qualifications. I mean, you need to get the qualifications to be called a journalist.
It needs to stop.
You know, every time I pick up these newspapers, you know, I spend half my time correcting poor grammar, poor headlines, the lot. I mean, it's not that we don't make mistakes at QTV. Sometimes a headline goes out and we think, oh, how did that happen? So it can happen. But you can read through these newspapers and they're just full of
But my problem is, and I've been saying this for so long, there are no standards attached to this profession in this country. The standard zero. There's nothing to measure yourself.
Glad you mentioned that. You know, the Media Council is trying to revive itself. They had a meeting yesterday about reviving it and making it relevant and have teeth. So if something like that happens, it can govern standards. But at the moment, they've got no... I think our colleague Tunkara used the word, no teeth.
No, they don't bite.
To take action.
They only have the gum.
Yeah.
Even the gum, you know, because essentially they're wanting people to regulate themselves. And if people are left to regulate themselves, we know where that can end.
Exactly.
You know, then you end up not regulating yourself. So
well, I mean,
that's possible.
There should be standards to measure yourself, to know if you're a reporter, this and this and this. If you're a presenter, this and this and this. But people jumping from everywhere actually makes people who are even putting effort to be standard, it will not be meaningful. Yeah, because everybody's doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it is, and we have these colleges that train people, and they need to look at themselves because some of the training and some of the people who come out saying they have been trained at these institutions, the standards are poor. They really need to step up.
That's true.
I think
because some of them apply to us.
I think
and then you call me sometimes to say, like, what is this?
Yeah. You know, like you said, the Media Council, I mean, if they are ready, I mean, they can put their system in such a way, if a person reports something which is wrong, and they penalize you.
That's what they're trying to now do. Yes.
So moving on, another interesting thing is here that Foria has gathered that the villagers of Kasakunda have constituted a delegation to meet the governor to request for a review of the dismissal of their alcalo. Since the minister is empowered to remove the alcalo only if there's an infringement of the law by the alcalo, it is the duty of the governor to refer all petitioners or mediators to the minister for a decision. That
one's been running for about 10 days, that story. And it'll be interesting to see how it is resolved, because it seems as if the people want the alcalo reinstated. And so I guess we've had instances where the alcalo has been dismissed and nobody has objected or felt they could object or petitioned or appealed. That has not happened in this case. They have petitioned, they have appealed, and they want it dealt with. So
you
they're
know,
taking it all the way to the top.
When you look at this alkalo SIP, I mean, it is a very complicated issue. Most alkalos, I mean, it's more of a lineage. I mean, it's more of a family line. You understand?
Yeah, sure.
So these people, their grandparents might be there for many, many years, and these are the grandchildren now. So it's like taking that alkalo SIP from their family to another family. That's a taboo in that community. So I mean, I think some villages, this is what they follow. This is what they do.
So, Mr. Ade, what do you think? Do you think government should allow the issue of alkalo to still continue to be localized, as in the lineage you're talking about, and not intervene?
Well, that's a difficult
and just allow it. So, what's your take? Should, you know, how?
It's really complex.
Should they be appointed, or we should just allow the lineage he's talking about to continue?
Because if you do one thing or the other, if you do through the lineage, it means that people then, it's like being a king or a monarch, where, you know, your unfit son inherits from you.
Exactly.
Even just because of bloodline, you know, and blood ties. So if it is to be more democratic as we move forward, I mean, most countries have done away with their monarchies. You know, Africa, we still have them. In some countries, we call them presidents, but essentially they're monarchs. There are at least 4 countries in Africa now that have had presidents who are in power for over 30 years and are grooming their sons to take over. So you still have that thing, and it's part of our culture. Well, and so the reason I say it's complex is because sometimes in some areas, the people want it to be that way. And if you say, no, it mustn't, they were like, well, that's what we want. So it's a really difficult one to resolve. Because you think, oh, I'm being fair, and there's that. Well, we don't care about fairness. For me, we want this family to continue.
Mr. Ade, I think the alkalo SIP should not only be subjected to one particular group of people, one family, because things are evolving. Every day things are changing. It might be today, my grandfather was the alkalo, but now, if the alkalo SIP is given to Ade's father, maybe he knows things that my grandfather don't know. He would be able to empower the people of my village. So these are the problems. Than me transferring, maybe my grandfather giving me the alkalo SIP, I don't even know how to do certain things. You know, so
we've had it in the past, and certainly in Nigeria, for example, in some areas, we've had people who have been appointed in certain positions because of lineage, and they've been removed because people objected to them and said this person is not fit to be, quite recently.
So for me, if it's like as in the UK, where the monarch is in a way that the successor is trained so well, like you're born to do this, the moment you're born, they kind of like train you to do this, you know what I mean? So even if you're not fit as in talent-wise, but the training is there, and you just come and take over. For example, in some instances,
I was going to say,
yes, in some instances. But these are like local people where they will not even take their time. I'm suggesting to take you through the ethics and stuff. Are there even standards?
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't exist.
Don't forget, the only reason why the current queen, for example, is the queen is because her uncle abdicated. He wanted to marry a divorced woman, an American, called Wallis Simpson, and they said he couldn't. And he went on radio and TV and made this statement and said, if I cannot marry the woman that I love, I will stand down as king. I mean, that's quite a big thing. And he gave up his crown. Imagine, the British royal family is probably the most recognized royal family in the world. You can't, in most other countries, you can't even name who's the king of Denmark, Queen of Denmark, or Spain.
But we all know Queen
Elizabeth.
And
they have. Everybody knows Queen Elizabeth. And not just because we're a Commonwealth country. I think you go to America, they know. They've heard of Harry, they've heard of, you know, William and so on. So for him to give that up was quite a thing. And you know, people, but you've been brought up to be the king, how could you? He gave it up. He went and lived in Barbados. He did it for love.
Mr. Ade, can I have somebody that loves me as much?
You probably will.
Like someone who's going to give up. Balde, you will never give up a crown.
He will.
He will not. Mr. Ade,
this man will not give up crown. Not now, not this generation.
This man will not give up a crown for this thing.
My dear.
Mr. Ade, I know I can give up a lot for
you know, when I saw Mr. Ade, I saw a guy holding a bag of 20 million and a lady with crocodiles beneath the surface.
He went for the crocodiles.
They said, please drop one. I said, please, drop the lady.
Astaghfirullah.
Drop the lady, take the money.
No way. Mr. Ade, there are a lot of things some people can do for love, and that person did.
Sure.
You know, so it's important.
But
well, not this generation. Nobody is gonna give up a crown like that for love.
You know, in this particular thing we're talking about, the alcaloship, you might one day get an alcalo who says, I don't think I'm worthy of this position, and step down in the same way that that person. You know, it could happen.
Well, in fact, you see, alcalos, at some point, for me, I think most alcalos are there, you know, as a ceremonial alcalos. I mean, because most of the jobs now have been taken over by, you know, certain groups of people in the community.
You go to buy land and they say you need the alcalo stamp, and you see people lining up, pay their whatever, and the alcalo stamps it.
Well,
it's
for
like
me, I cannot talk much because I am from the alcalo lineage, so I'll have to.
Oh, so you're one of the hereditary ones, are you?
I'll just have to hold it there.
Anyway, So any interesting headlines there, Rem? I think. So, Mr. Ade, you talked about sports as well, how Mauritania pulled out of the under-15 tournament because they feel like their opponents were in under-15.
Sierra Leonean opponents, to be specific.
Yeah, Sierra Leonean.
They looked at these guys, if anybody looks at them, to be honest, none of the Sierra Leoneans looked under 15. I don't know what it is with Africans. Every time we go into sport, suddenly we look older than our ages. What a coincidence. You know, when it's under 12, under 13, under 14, we always cheat. Yeah. And essentially, I mean, CAF ran, I hope they finish it and squash it. They ran the schools competition last year for the first time. That was sponsored by, you know, Confederation of African Football. Right. And the guy who was voted player of the tournament, he looked like he must be 21, 22, 23. I swear to God.
No way.
One day, in fact, tomorrow I will post his picture and people can see. There's no way he's a school child. There's no way. There is no way.
And what was supposed to be the age?
Schools competition. Well, it's meant to under 15.
Really? And he looked so old.
Listen, if you, if you see the video of when they're giving him the award, and you see some of the officials like, they couldn't disguise it. Like, this is a schoolboy. He's probably got children.
Probably got kids.
And you know the Sierra Leone Mauritania one, where Sierra Leone won 6-0. The joke in Sierra Leone is that one of the guys who scored 2 goals then dedicated the 2 goals to his wife and kids. But that's just a joke, I'm sure. But they don't look under 15.
But Mr. Ade Ahmed, we all know when it comes to African football,
but this is
people are used to faking their age. Look, but didn't they have, I mean, machines that can determine how old?
They do. Remember, Gambia were subject to that when we went to play in Senegal. And some players were found to be over. I don't know why African governments and footballing authorities continue it to this day. It's awful, you know. But it goes on, and it seems such a habit that we can't drop.
You know, we are hungry for success at some point. I mean,
but
we train a lot in this country. We do a lot of things in Africa.
Which country don't they train?
In Africa, we train a lot. We practice every day. I mean, but opportunities comes very rare, Mr. Ade. So we are always hungry for opportunity, so we can go beyond changing our age.
Yeah, and that's and there are lots of current Gambian internationals who people will tell you, I was at school with that guy. His official age is 5 years younger than his real age, and that's kind of sad, really.
Mr. Ade, you know, I'm so hurt right now. The reason because I can't confirm, because obviously they got a 6 months visa. I can't say they absconded because as long as the 6 months is still...
They're just enjoying their 6 months
maybe
visa.
If we cannot confirm, unless if the 6 months is finished, then we can say they absconded. We cannot conclude.
That's right.
But if that is the case, because they were supposed to be on a flight, why did they leave their luggage, disappeared without telling anyone anything? Then we will be suspicious.
I think you better tell the viewers who you're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about the Commonwealth Games, the boxer, as well as Ibrahima.
And the swimmer.
The swimmer and is it boxer or
in fact, allegedly 4 people.
4 people
did not board the flight they were supposed to take
to come back home. And obviously something is fishy. Why did you leave your luggage there?
Quite. Because
and did not tell anyone that I'm extending.
They're just absent-minded people, Jennifer.
Why should you do this? You are a star, for God's sake. Yeah. You represented us at the Birmingham Games. You can represent us at the Olympics.
You know what? But you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
Our colleague, I think it was Gajaga, came and showed me the story in the newspaper, and then he showed me the comments on Facebook underneath it. And 90% of them were supporting.
Yeah, in support of it, I saw
I'm
it.
telling you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They're saying, well done to them. How clever. Yes. And then one of them had this saying, why would you come back to hell when you've landed in heaven?
What?
And people were saying, yes, I agree.
Oh my God.
He was going through the messages, and I was astonished. I mean, maybe not astonished, but that's the kind of comments that was being said, that people were actually applauding them for having done so. But what they don't realize is that, guess what? The next time there's competition in the UK or in the EU, they will refuse visas to legitimate individuals who should go there and come back. And so they're harming others. So all these people who are giving them a thumbs up, you're destroying your own country's potential, because those people will be impacted.
But Mr. Ade, I don't know why Gambians just refuse to come back. We can remember when you went to England as well with Standard Chartered Bank. You know, and those people decided to do the same thing. It was so funny when I went to the UK and people were like, oh, there's a tendency, like people thought Jena Basonko will go to the UK and not come back to Gambia. Like, for real?
Well, I think it was on here that I mentioned
you
that, that you know, when, you know, some Sierra Leonean teachers went to 19 of them, not a single one went back. Not a single one, 19.
This is just...
and so they killed. This was meant to be an annual program where British teachers would come to Sierra Leone, Sierra Leonean teachers would go to England, to Hull, and then in the first year, because the 19 didn't come back, they just killed the whole project. So the next year, nobody came, and it's never been revived. Why would they? You know,
but
so...
for these athletes, if allegedly, if this is what happened, it's justifiable at the end of the day, because these are people who are going to travel all over the world, considering that now there's political will when it comes to sports. I'm not saying 100%, but we are seeing changes.
And this is not with hindsight, but when I watched the games and I saw the swimmer, I actually said, what on earth is this guy doing in this competition? He was so poor. He was 1 minute behind the winner.
What?
That's like... The winner could have got out, had his tea and changed, and he was still swimming. I mean, in swimming, that's like long for you to be 1 minute behind somebody. I thought, why is this guy even there?
Maybe he already concluded that he doesn't want this. I'm not saying that's what happened, but
no, the thing is,
you never know.
He was not of a standard where he should have even gone to the games, really.
Well, I mean,
and I said that at the time.
But Ibrahima, is this Ibrahima Kamara?
Yeah, Soiree something. Yeah.
Astaghfirullah.
Yeah. I mean, he.
The athlete. What's the name of the athlete that?
I can't recall.
Okay, we don't want to name names.
I have it on my phone.
Yeah, we just want to check.
I have it on my phone. But the swimmer guy should not have been there. I mean, maybe he's watching and he'll get in touch and say, look, I've got a 6-month visa and I'm just taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
Which, as you said at the beginning, perhaps that's what he's just doing lots of extra shopping.
Why did you leave your luggage behind?
He's forgetful.
And why didn't you tell anyone that you're extending?
Yeah, I know.
You know, so which means something special.
You know, the evidence is not good.
Let's wait and see after 6 months, maybe.
Yeah. In fact, you know, if it makes Gambians feel any better, there are 9 Sierra Leoneans who didn't return, by the way, from this
same game.
From this games.
No, man,
so, but again, they could just be doing extra shopping.
Yeah, and this is the slavery that we are talking about.
Yeah, because what job are you going to do when you're undocumented?
You're going to go and be a slave.
Because you're overseeing. But they've got 6 months. Yeah. They've got 6 months to be there.
Yeah, so you're going to just get minimum wage, wash bowls and stuff. And in your country, you're being celebrated. You're being sent to games to represent your country, holding your own flag. What is more beautiful than that?
Yeah, I mean, when the Sierra Leonean under-17 team won the Zone 2, and you know, when they were going to go and play in Finland, imagine they were taken there by the president, and half of Freetown was running behind them, cheering them. When they got there, out of the 22 squad, 14 of them did not go back. One of them actually ended up playing for Finland. He was naturalized and so on. And all of them claimed that, you know, if we go back, we'll be persecuted. So persecuted, the president himself took you to the airport because he was so proud of you. And you're talking rubbish about being persecuted. And these are the people who, they tarnish the names of their countries.
I know.
Because people over there believe it. They believe, because they think us Africans were so barbaric that even a team that is celebrated and lauded and praised, they're in danger of being killed if they come back to their country. What's rubbish? I mean, but that's the kind of nonsense that happens.
And the thing is, Mr. Ade, to tell you, it even happened to me. When I went there, people were telling me, because it was 6 months, you have to go back. You have to go. And when you go, that's it. I was looking at these people like, are you mad?
If you're back from, you can go back.
You can go back and stay.
Yeah.
And that is how unhopeful we are.
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
Well, at some point too, Geneva, you might get the opportunity here. You might be comfortable doing your thing. Some people don't have that.
That is not.
There is no excuse, I mean, to run. I mean, there is no point that one should do that. No. You understand? But some people, these are all things that drive them.
I know they're like push factors, but the moment this is your country's flag involved, Mr. Ade, that is my point. This is your country's integrity.
This comes back to the way we govern ourselves in Africa too. How bad, I mean, the governance system is in Africa.
In Gambia, there's a mindset. Last year or the year before, 37 people were apprehended, and there were some 12 Sierra Leoneans amongst them, and we went to interview them. And I was astonished that amongst them were 5 members of the same family, Gambian family, and they said that a family member had sent them $2,500 each to pay for this trip. And I asked them, I said, why didn't you all put that money together and start a business here?
Exactly.
That's a lot of money, 2,500 for 5 people? It's like they hadn't even thought of it.
Yeah.
All they thought of was paying these people, the agent. This was the infamous instance where the agent was apprehended. And by the way, I don't know if the immigration authorities ever addressed this. Perhaps they're watching this. He was taken away in a car by immigration authorities, and they came back and said he ran away whilst they were taking him away with this lots and lots of money. So I don't know whether that case ever happened.
All right. So Mr. Ade, from that, we'll just conclude by saying that also businesses have to endorse these athletes just so they know when they come back to the Gambia they have something.
Exactly.
Let us try to endorse businesses. Please endorse our athletes, endorse our stars, just so they have side money to be able to keep up with themselves. Because, you know, the only way they get money is when competitions come. And then endorse them, you know, make them brand ambassadors. At least that can encourage them to not run away or do
exactly. If you have something that tie you at home, I mean, obviously you will
feel like there's income. But if you don't support them, they will find the need to run.
Definitely.
Not only that, if we don't do that, then they're not going to be at the level where they can compete because they're doing another job.
They cannot.
As well as trying to be an athlete.
They're doing a side job, and they're not supposed to. But anyway, Mr. Ade, we'll just allow you to go. It seems we spent 1 hour today reviewing newspapers. Oh
well, not just reviewing. We also had the proverb.
The proverb, So we will just let you go now. So we will go for a short break, and when we come back, we have we were talking about the birth registration and health insurance scheme. I did a story recently about, you know, the rumors and all of that in relation to it, and, you know, to further have the ministry clarify this, we'll be joined by a communications officer at the Ministry of Health to further educate us in relation to the whole process. We'll be right back.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network. Save up to 50% energy with the new side-by-side Samsung refrigerator. Samsung air conditioners come with HD filter and antibacterial for your protection. Save time, energy, and effort by using our washing machines, loaded with innovative features that offer superior cleaning technology. Step into the future of television with our slick and slim Samsung Smart TV designs. Sizes range from 32 to 85 inches. Smart LED, Crystal UHD Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dark LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV. Unparalleled vision, right from the comfort of your living room. Our products are backed with 1-year warranty. Visit us at QCell Building at Caraba Avenue or at Boosterview Turntable. Contact us on 333-3217 or email us at info@quantumnet.gm. Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the gap.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and now, like I mentioned, we'll be talking about the birth registration and health insurance scheme. So first of all, due to time constraints, so we would just take this in a very organized way to be able to just, if you may, debunk certain conceptions that people have. So to start with, I think it is important to clear the air when it comes to the fact that the birth registration is going side by side with the health insurance.
Correct.
Because there are a lot of people who feel like foreigners are being given birth certificates. What do you think about that?
Thank you very much, Jenaba, once again, and my brother, Mr. Balde, for having me. Viewers, I am Jibril Gando Balde, Senior Health Communication Officer, Minister of Health. First of all, as you rightly mentioned, the exercise is twofold. We are registering Gambians, all Gambians for that matter, for a birth certificate. And we are registering Gambians and non-Gambians for the National Health Insurance membership card. Okay. So it's twofold. So that's why people should understand when they see foreigners at these registration centers, we are not issuing foreigners birth certificates. We are issuing foreigners the National Health Insurance membership card, which they are entitled to. So, and the Gambians, they are entitled to both. So people have to understand this. When they go to registration centers, they will meet up with foreigners, of course. But those foreigners are not there for a birth certificate. For clarity, the people that we are giving birth certificates to are people that are born to Gambian parents. People that are born to Gambian parents, these are Gambians. We are registering them for a birth certificate at the same time for the National Health Insurance membership. The second one is those who are born in Gambia but born to non-Gambian parents. If this child you have in the Gambia and you, the parents, are foreigners, you can still be registered. That child can still be registered for a birth certificate. So that foreigner can still go to the registration site to register his or her child, but not necessarily meaning he is registering himself or herself. And the third category of people we are registering are people that are born outside the Gambia to Gambian parents. If, for example, your sister or your brother is in the UK and he have a child there or she have a child there, that child can be registered. These are children born by Gambian parents outside the Gambia. We call them BOGs. And then we also have NGPs, non-Gambian parents. So these are the category of people that we are registering for the birth certificate. And for the National Health Insurance membership card, that one is across the board. Both Gambians and foreigners are entitled to get that National Health Insurance certificate. And what that means is we are registering both Gambians and non-Gambians. And people should bear with us and be very patient because this is the largest registration exercise in the country, if I'm not mistaken, for the last 50 years. Because, I'm sorry, because this is a birth registration that doesn't leave any age bracket behind. Like the IEC, we only register people above the age of 18. You know, and other registrations, we register people below the age of 18. So, but for this birth registration campaign, it is leaving nobody behind. Even the child that is born today is entitled to the certificate. The child that is born yesterday and the man or woman that is 99 years old. So everybody, as long as you are a Gambian, you are born in the Gambia, you are born to Gambian parents, or you have a child outside the Gambia and you want to register that child, all these people have to be registered. So the magnitude of people coming out, we are very much impressed with the turnout of people that are coming in. But notwithstanding, people cannot get it as fast as they thought that the process is going to be. So we have to understand that it's the whole country that we are registering and we are moving region by region.
Coming to that, you're talking about the fact that it cannot be as fast as people expect. But then the complaint is that it's extremely slow. You know, so what are you doing? Extremely slow.
Yeah, I can relate that maybe to the population and to the teams or to the gadgets that are available to do the process. In every registration site, you will meet more than 500, close to 300 people. And then the process, this is digital system, electronic birth certificate for that matter. It have to get a QR code and all your details have to be entered in the system. Your picture have to be taken, that one individual. So the process of interview, the process of entering the data, and then the process of syncing the data to the central database and then printing all is done at the same place. So that's why the process is kind of slow, because one individual will take a number of time before his process is complete, from interview to data entry, you know, to printing, you know, and then before printing, your photos and everything have to be taken and it have to be verified before it is synced, because the moment they enter it and sync the system, after taking all your details, it goes to the central data, and whereby even if there is a mistake with your name, they should write J and they write G, it cannot be changed at the spot there if it is synced already. It means you have to go to the central database in Banjul at the Registrar of Birth head office, and then where the main data is, and there is where the changes can affect. So many people are even complaining that at the registration sites, they do have such kind of issue whereby a name will be spelled wrongly or a date of birth will be entered wrongly, and then you cannot go with that because all your documents, you know, were tallying with that. So, and up to a point that you came and then something was changed. So in that case, the teams at the registration site, we refer them to Banjul. So they should understand that, because this is not something that they can handle at that site. They can only enter the data, but to change the data, it cannot. So this is why this electronic birth certificate is very, very important, and it came at the right time, because in the Gambia, as we all know, one person can be issued 5 birth certificates, because every time you go, you will adjust an age or change a year or a month, or even your parent, one of them. But with this electronic system, when you enter all your data and it is synced, anytime you come, we only need 2 or 3, you know, part of your data, only your date of birth and your name, without even your name of father and mother. When you enter it in the system, it will see everything. So now you will see duplication will be drastically reduced when it comes to birth issuing.
I know the process is tense and very slow, I mean, due to the electronic input that your people are doing. So now, I mean, to control the number of people that comes to register for birth certificates, don't you think you should find a strategy, I mean, at least to help those that are working and those that are coming to acquire the birth certificate? Maybe you'll say, we won't register a day more than 150 people.
When it comes to the registration, sometimes our guys are at work up to 5 o'clock, but they extend that up to 7, depending on the people, because sometimes the process, as you said, is not that much very fast. So you can see we extend our time to ensure that the people who had been waiting for so long, since in the morning, some of them, or in the afternoon, in the hot sun, at least they are given time so that we can always add more to what is expected of the registration. So, but the turnout, everywhere you go, the turnout is the same, because what people should understand is that for this exercise, nobody is left behind. It started with the president, and we all saw it. So when the president and the first family happened to change their old birth certificates and get new ones with the national health insurance, I think that sent a clear message that everybody should go out for this. And this is the message that people, this is how people have received this message. They have all come out in their numbers. What we can only tell them is that the process, yes, is 3 months for the registration, but it will not end at the end of the 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, the birth certificates will go back to where they were issued. And these are our health centers. And as we know in the Gambia, you don't walk for more than 10 kilometers without meeting a particular health center, either minor or major. So this process will continue after the 3 months at the health centers, because right now what we are doing is to bring it to the doors of the people, to make it accessible to the people, because it's a new thing. So if you want everybody to go to Serakunda Health Center, imagine the catchment area of Serakunda, London, Serakunda, Bundung, and all those people to go to Serakunda, it will be very much confusing. Gando, so that's why we have distributed teams along, so that to make it easier and accessible. I have
not seen the birth certificate. I mean, how does it look? I mean, is it the same type of a paper that
this is the question I asked my guys.
Just how does it
yesterday, I told them I think I should be among the people who at least you register, so that when I go to the media,
so that
my people, I can show my own. Because when it comes to information with births and other things, it's confidential, that some people will not want you to take another person's birth certificate to display. But for mine, at least I can show it. For me, everybody knows my age in the Gambia, So because on my Facebook and everything, I do tell my people what year I'm celebrating this year. I'm not like you anyway, so who hide their age under the carpet. So to be on a serious note, you can see that amount of people that are turning out is why the process is slow. But it's not that the process itself is slow. It's the magnitude of people that they are processing.
Well, we are happy. I mean, it's not like the COVID-19 induction. People are coming to register.
Definitely, definitely. This one is not like the COVID injection where, you have to, force people to come out. You go to their doorstep, still they will still be reluctant. So, but with this, everybody is calling. When are you coming? When are you coming to our area? When are you coming to our area? And one thing I also want to clarify here.
Absolutely finished, but I just want you, just in seconds, the Alcalos attestation.
Yes, to clarify that.
Please clarify that. Is it you can get it where you're living currently, or you have to go back to your place of birth?
I think I have to clarify the whole requirement issue. When it comes to what are the requirements, number one, you have to get a birth certificate. If you have an original birth certificate that was with you, if you take that one, you don't need a father supporting document. You don't need an Alcalo attestation. That birth certificate can be replaced for another birth certificate. And if you have an attestation now, there is where you need your father's ID card or passport or mother's as a supporting document. And that attestation also, it should be given to somebody who doesn't have a clinic card, who is elderly, and he doesn't have any paper. So now he wants to come and get a new birth certificate registered. So with that, you have to go to your place where you are born, the Alcalo, and get the attestation. No, where you are born is where you are born, not resident. Because that Alcalo have to know your parents, have to know your family before giving you that attestation. And we are sending this warning to all alcalis, as it has been done before, to be very careful at this time issuing attestations. Whoever they are issuing attestation, that means that they are attesting that they were aware of the birth of this person, of this individual in their particular community. And that, if it is false, is a very serious crime. So we are advising advising all alcalos to be very much aware of this.
Okay, now.
So time is completely free. The moment you take this, the click segment will not happen.
All right, so don't worry. Maybe we'll do that another time.
I think so, because the click, they even need to be registered. Those running the click.
The click should get a birth certificate.
And we should also have like a special registration package for
Definitely. Now that is what we are thinking of, going to institutions, so, you know, to make sure that we also give access to those people who cannot leave their workplace to be registered.
Exactly.
That will be really considered.
I'm looking forward to joining us again on another update. So we'll just go for a short break now, and when we come back, we'll head right onto the click segment. To stay tuned.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using Quick Pay on the Q Money platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with Q Money by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy Q-Power, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. Ibrahim, and now we head to the click segment.
Yeah. We are going straight to click segment, and we have our man, Churchill Balde, C-Boy.
Good morning, my beautiful co-panelists. It's a wonderful morning. Today we are on another level. We are doing the click segment with entertainment updates. Yeah, strictly entertainment updates. As you already know, I was supposed to have Big Found the show, but due to some irregularities,
you are mixing it. Irregularities.
Exactly. You know, this tongue twist and everything.
I know.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
Yeah, but so we move on to our first update. We have Nancho in Oslo, Norway. You know, he went there for his tour, European tour. So we have videos of him performing. So we'll take a look at his first performance, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. That's Nancho Apachaki giving us all the vibe in Norway. You know, but it's amazing how Gambian music is turning out to hit international market.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Yes, for one like Nyancho, I think he deserved, I mean, this trip now. I mean, making it international.
Yeah.
Just Tobaski, we've seen him perform in Turkey, then Dubai, now to Norway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he deserved this because, I mean, Nyancho is one of the artists that inspired many youngsters here, Jay. I mean, this guy have been here, he've done a whole lot of songs with different people, and he have struggled for a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing him changing his way of music and also believing in what he do and going to another level is amazing.
And also with the controversy that he just came from with his ex-manager, I think this came at the right time of his career. And before he left, he also had a new video, which is already out there, Versatile. You know, we all know how versatile he can be. Yes, so we'll look at that video and we'll be right back. Versatile Apachaki giving us all that vibe. And he's not only the only Gambian on tour right now. We have Jizzle all the way in Sweden. You know, he's scheduled to start his own tour this weekend. When he touched down Sweden, we saw pictures of him with Yemi Alade, you know, one of the finest artists when it comes to Afrobeat in Africa. We've seen Jizzle. That's it on your screens. If you can see, that's Jizzle with Yemi Alade. And he also have music out there with Young Epps, you know, calling that one Lifestyle. So we'll listen to the Lifestyle and then. So, Balle, what do you make of that also, having Jizzle also in Sweden? We have two Gambians currently doing their tour in Europe.
Well, it's telling you how our music is going.
It's growing,
it's like people
it's
are
exciting.
Yeah, people are feeling it outside. I mean, now we have conquered Gambia, so we're going outside to do our thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we wish them good luck. We already know. So we move on to our next. We have Nobles also giving us that new album that is on the way coming. So that's the trailer, as you can see on your screens. Yeah, they've just released an official trailer of their upcoming song with Juba. You know, that's international collab right there. They've been silent for a while now, and we see the comeback. We say that they are working on a comeback. So we'll listen to the trailer and we'll be right back.
She say I'll be fucking man. Oh shit, she no go trust no artist man. Oh shit, I easy though with the daughters gang. My lady, pull your temper down.
Let's go.
She say I be cheater man. Oh shit, she say I be fucker man. Oh shit, she no go trust no artist man. Oh shit, I easy road with the guy.
Nobles, Balde, what do you make of that?
That's a nice one. You know, Nobles, these are people that have vibes. You know, they have vibes. They have, yeah, I believe you love Nobles.
Yeah, they're doing great.
You know, they are one of the most versatile artists in this country. So I think releasing that one, people are expecting, you know, it will be a big song. It will be a banger.
most definitely. We all know Nobles are not new when it comes to entertainment in the Gambia. We know what they can do. So we expect that they will be giving us all, you know, in this new project. So we move on straight to Oh Boy. This song is kind of funny to me. I don't know. It's titled Koma. Can you help me with that? Koma something. Koma Kumaro.
Koma Kumaro,
exactly. My Mandinka accent is bad, so y'all just excuse
me.
Backbiting, yeah. So it's a message out there, you know, especially this modern age of backbiting and everything. So I think it's a good one. It came right on point. So we'll we'll take a look at the video and we'll be right back. Wow, Oh Boy giving us all that vibe. That song is fire, Ale. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, see boy, it's great to have for people like Oh Boy and Gambian Child. These are people that I like what they do.
Right.
And when you look at how they started their music, I mean, they grew up like from nothing to something. I mean, looking at Oh Boy starting as a comedian. I mean, getting to this stage. And Oh Boy is among the most followed Gambians
on all social media platforms. Yeah. Making all the views on YouTube.
His music, it's going international.
Yeah.
People love his music around the sub-region. So I think it's very inspiring.
And not only him, we also have Barhama giving us Enjoy vibe, you know. Barhama was working on his album last year, but we had a chance to talk to him, and then he told us that there were so many hitches regarding his album. You know, there were all problems here and there with the production side. Actually, he made mention that it was the delay is from the production side. So he has already released the album. It's official out there. I Am Barham. So we'll take a look at this video from the album. It's called Enjoy. So let's go and enjoy, and we'll be right back. Let's go and enjoy. Come on.
Free up your mind and be ready to enjoy. I just wanna enjoy. Wakal maheta sinyu allow me to enjoy. I just wanna enjoy. Be problem do je kon baile mama enjoy.
Tafa is killing me in the studio right now, giving me all that enjoyment vibe. Tafa, you siko, muna you enjoy.
Muna problem you doing so
exactly.
Allow him to enjoy.
Hanga way like mashallah, way sometimes it makes you forget your stress. Everybody is going through emotional stress, depression, so I think this is the vibe. Sometimes you just get lost in your problem, you know, just enjoy it, you know. So we also have A2 doing it big. He's been working, like we've seen the visuals. You know, just recently he released a song called Hajaka, and now he has a future in Guinea. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that and we'll be right back.
Yeah, so due to time constraints, I'm afraid we might not be able to take a look at that. So that is all we have for you in this edition of This Morning, till we come your way tomorrow with another interesting program. Bye-bye.